Chains don't bind fire. The first strike wasn't meant to kill us. The Empire's fleet arrived above Earth not with the thunder of orbital bombardments, but with the suffocating silence of inevitability. Their ships, colossal, obsidian wedges blotting out the night sky, descended in perfect formation, precision that spoke of centuries of conquest. They weren't here to fight. They were here to make us kneel. The news feeds said the same thing in every language, every region. Do not resist. Humanity will be spared if it submits. But beneath that message was the subtext every human felt in their bones. They thought we would bow. I remember the first broadcast clearly. The alien leader, a creature with elongated features and eyes like burning embers, declared to billions of us through hijacked satellites. Your kind is primitive, your weapons outdated, your courage misplaced. You will be folded into the Empire, as all others before you. Resist, and your cities will burn. It should have worked. By all reason, by their millennia of experience, it should have broken us. Instead, something else stirred. The chains of occupation. The first year was suffocating. They dismantled our militaries, melted down tanks, and incinerated warplanes. Human leaders who resisted were removed. Cities became garrisons. Their spires overshadowed our skylines. Their banners, black with a crimson sigil, hung from our monuments, our halls of government, our stadiums. They thought crushing our armies would crush our spirit. But humans are strange creatures. We do not live in palaces or temples of power. We live in stories, and stories of rebellion, of freedom, of impossible odds, spread faster than any of their curfews could contain. Sparks in the shadows. I was 19 when the Empire arrived. By 21, I was already a fugitive. It wasn't glamorous. My resistance cell wasn't made of hardened warriors. We were engineers, teachers, farmers, kids with more rage than weapons. We stole food, sabotaged patrols, spread whispers across the occupied cities. Small things, insignificant maybe, but whispers grew into embers. In the underground bunkers of New Delhi, in the crumbling factories of Detroit, in the frozen streets of Moscow, people began to remember who we were. One night, huddled in a broken subway tunnel lit by scavenged lamps, I heard the words that would change everything. An old soldier, face lined with scars, told us, "They don't understand us. The Empire thinks humans fight with guns. They don't see it. Our true weapon is that we never stop fighting, not even when the world says we've lost." The Empire miscalculates. The Empire tried to break us the way they had broken others. First came the forced labor camps. Millions were shipped off-world, never to return. Factories churned not for Earth, but for their war machine. Then came cultural erasure. Books burned, music silenced. They thought if they erased our past, our future would belong to them. And finally, the public punishments. Executions on broadcast. Rebels hanged in city squares. Examples made of those who dared speak. On one of those broadcasts, I saw my best friend. He had been caught carrying smuggled radios. They paraded him before the cameras, demanded he confess his human weakness. Instead, he stared into the lens, his voice steady as stone, and said, "You think you own us, but chains don't bind fire. You'll see." They killed him, and that was their mistake, because his words spread like wildfire. In the whispers of rebels, in the songs hummed under breath, in graffiti scrawled on the walls of occupied cities. Chains don't bind fire. The first blow, the first true strike against the Empire came in the third year of occupation. A small fleet of their supply ships, escorted but lightly, was ambushed near the asteroid belt. They expected pirates. Instead, they found humans. Not governments, not armies, just humans. Miners who had hidden drills and explosives, engineers who had cannibalized station parts into railguns, smugglers who'd stitched together ragged ships into something resembling a fleet. And they didn't fight to survive. They fought to win. When the dust settled, 3 of the Empire's supply ships were destroyed. 1 was captured. And the humans? They sent a message across every hidden channel, every frequency the Empire couldn't quite silence. "We are not finished. The effect was electric. On Earth, graffiti appeared overnight. "We are not finished." In the camps, prisoners whispered it to each other in the dark. "We are not finished." Even in the Empire's halls of power, the phrase reached alien ears, gnawing at their certainty. The fire spreads. The Empire retaliated, of course. Worlds burned. Colonies starved. Entire human populations were erased. But with each act of cruelty, they misunderstood us further. They thought pain would extinguish resistance. Instead, it sharpened it. By the 5th year, humanity was no longer a species under occupation. We were a species at war. Scattered fleets hid in asteroid fields. Rebel cells turned occupied cities into minefields. Entire industries went underground, churning out weapons in secret. And through it all, the words remained. Chains don't bind fire. The Empire's fear. What frightened them most wasn't our weapons. It was our refusal to be what they expected. When they shattered our armies, we became guerrillas. When they censored our culture, we turned memory into rebellion. When they took our leaders, children stepped forward in their place. I remember one moment, burned into my mind forever. An alien officer, sneering, told me after my capture, "Every species breaks. It is only a matter of time." And I laughed, even with blood in my mouth, and whispered back, "Then you picked the wrong species." The dawn of something greater. By the 7th year, something had changed. The Empire was no longer fighting scattered uprisings. It was fighting a movement. Every raid, every broadcast, every act of defiance wove together into something greater than any single leader could have planned. Humanity, fractured, stubborn, chaotic humanity, had become united by the very chains meant to break us. And the galaxy began to notice. Other species, long subjugated by the Empire, began whispering the same words humans carried. "We are not finished." The cliffhanger. On the night of the solstice, in the ruins of a shattered city, a transmission cut through the Empire's blockade. Not a whisper this time, a broadcast. The face of a human appeared, scarred but unbroken. His voice rang across occupied worlds. "They tried to break our spirit. Instead, they taught us who we are. We are fire. We are humanity. And fire spreads." That night, for the first time in centuries, the Empire's rulers felt something they hadn't known in generations. Fear. And they hadn't yet seen what humanity would become. The shattered chains. The tribunal chamber aboard the Zelthari dreadnought was a theater of domination. Gleaming obsidian walls stretched high above, lit by veins of molten blue energy. Alien warlords sat in carved thrones, their elongated skulls tilted down toward the lone human prisoner in the center. That prisoner was Captain Elias Ward. Shackled, battered, but still standing. His eyes burned, not with fear, but with something the Zelthari couldn't categorize. Defiance. The lead warlord, Archregent Vathor, leaned forward. His voice carried like thunder across the chamber. "Humanity is finished. Your colonies are ashes, your fleet scattered. Kneel, and perhaps your species will be permitted to serve." Elias laughed, raw, hoarse, but undeniable. The sound echoed in the chamber, alien heads tilting in confusion. "Serve? You don't get it, do you?" He spat, blood staining his lips. "We don't kneel. Not to tyrants. Not to empires. You tried to break us, but all you've done is remind us why we fight." A low murmur spread among the alien council. Vathor snarled, slamming his clawed hand against the armrest. "Arrogant ape, you will be an example. The death of your spirit will be broadcast to every surviving human. A lesson carved in pain." But Elias just smiled. And in that moment, something shifted. The humans watching the broadcast from scattered prison worlds, mining camps, and underground hideouts didn't see defeat. They saw a spark, and sparks ignite fires. The first uprising. When the Zelthari forced human prisoners to watch Elias' public breaking, they didn't see despair. They saw a man laughing in the face of an empire that thought itself invincible. Across dozens of occupied worlds, whispers spread. "If Elias can stand, so can we." On Luton's Hold, a mining colony buried in crimson dust, prisoners smuggled stolen tools, sharpening them into weapons. On Titan's Cry, a frozen outpost, workers sabotaged fuel lines to cripple alien supply ships. Even on Earth itself, silent resistance began. Graffiti scrawled in the ruins of New York, the words simple but powerful. Humanity endures. The Empire had set out to break humanity's spirit. Instead, they'd given it focus. The breaking point. In the Dreadnought Tribunal Chamber, Vather activated the execution sequence. A towering arc of energy crackled to life, meant to shatter Elias body molecule by molecule. But Elias only grinned wider. You think this is my end? No, this is your beginning. At that exact moment, across the galaxy, human cells of resistance struck. Explosives planted weeks earlier detonated inside Zelthari refineries. Slave camps erupted in revolt. Alien warships found their navigational data corrupted by viruses the humans had quietly seeded into the Empire's networks. And above all, human fleets thought annihilated revealed themselves. Ships once believed destroyed had been hiding in asteroid fields, dark space, and broken moons, rebuilding in secret. The execution chamber shook as a massive explosion reverberated through the Dreadnought's hull. Warning sirens screamed in alien tones. Vather staggered to his feet. What is this? Who dares? Elias leaned forward against his shackles, eyes glinting. You should have listened. You didn't break us. You woke us. The human counterstrike. The hidden Helios fleet burst from Cloak near the Dreadnought. Human warships, forged from scavenged parts and desperation, didn't gleam like the Empire's vessels. They bristled with raw, brutal functionality. Where Zelthari ships were elegant, human ships were predatory. Angular. Relentless. The first salvo tore through the Dreadnought's escort ships like paper. Missiles screamed across the void. Energy beams lanced through shields, and boarding pods slammed into alien hulls. Inside, alarms blared. Alien guards rushed into the tribunal chamber. But the doors blew inward in a shower of sparks, and armored human marines stormed through. Captain? One shouted, blasting apart Elias' shackles. Elias staggered free, grabbing the fallen rifle of an alien soldier. He turned to Vather, who stared at him in disbelief. Impossible! You were broken. Elias raised the rifle, leveling it at the alien warlord. No, we were tempered. The shot echoed like thunder. The fall of the Empire. The rebellion spread faster than the Empire could contain. Every colony that once bent under alien whips rose in defiance. Every attempt at suppression only fueled the fire. The Zelthari had ruled for millennia, their dominion built on fear. But humanity had shown the galaxy something different, resistance, even in the face of annihilation. Other subjugated species began to follow the example, rallying to the banner of defiance. The Empire fractured. Whole fleets defected or were annihilated. Slave worlds declared independence. And at the heart of it all, Elias Ward stood on the bridge of the reclaimed Dreadnought, humanity's flag stitched into the captain's chair behind him. They wanted to break us. Instead, they broke themselves. The message to the stars. When the last of the Zelthari warlords fell, Elias authorized a broadcast sent across every known channel, into every system under the Empire's shadow. The transmission was simple. A human, standing tall against the backdrop of shattered alien fleets, declaring in a voice that echoed into eternity, "We are humanity. You tried to chain us, to crush us, to silence us. But we don't break. We fight. And if you come for us again, remember this day, the day an empire fell because it mistook our endurance for weakness." The galaxy listened, and in silence they understood. Humanity wasn't a race to be broken. Humanity was the fire that burned empires to ash. Closing image. Elias stood at the viewport, watching the stars shift as the reclaimed Dreadnought sailed forward. Around him, ships once enslaved now flew free, their lights like embers scattered across the void. The Zelthari Empire was gone. Humanity's spirit had not only survived, it had set the galaxy ablaze. And with a grim smile, Elias whispered the words that would echo in alien memory for ages to come. They thought they could break us. Instead, we broke their empire.